lot of your receivers are talking about you got a lot more zip on the ball from last year. What are you doing different to increase that velocity?
I got a great trainer that has been helping me with that. And a lot of it is just practicing throwing the ball hard. But if it shows up right now, it doesn't matter. It's got to show up in the game. So I'm looking forward to that.
Besides your velocity, what other aspects of your game are you trying to improve upon this offseason?
Knowing all the answers that I can get to if we get stuck in a bad play against a bad defense, knowing the good play against that defense that I can get to quickly within the shot clock. So, that just comes with reps and time.
Joe Burrow getting ready for season number 2. And, hey, look, it was a very depressing and unfortunate end of the season for Joe Burrow with the knee injury. He's been busting his butt to get back and ready to go. And, Chris, even with that injury, you've got him in the top half of your top 40 quarterback countdown.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 17. Joe Burrow, a lot of projection there.
Yeah.
As it relates to health. But we know the talent's undeniable based on what we saw last year.
Yeah, I mean, he's a natural at the position. That's the big thing to me. Yeah. I mean, really everything you want out of a franchise quarterback, Joe Burrow has in every aspect except for maybe the thing he just talked about. And let's just start there because he brought it up. I mean, yeah, that to me is the big question mark. You heard me say that a little bit last year. If you remember, I hope you do. Power throws, explosive throws. That was the only negative about him coming out in the draft. Yeah, you want to throw the ball harder? You got to practice throwing the ball harder. You're going to have to readjust your mechanics a little bit. Now, this is the reason I love the kid. I mean, he's very self-aware to make that adjustment. He said it. I saw him trying to adjust to it last year during the year. But now this is the third time in about 3 weeks we've heard about explosive, velocity, that type of talk come out of Cincinnati because he knows that's where his game's got to go. That's his biggest question mark. Everything else, I mean, reading defenses, amazing. For a rookie, the fact that they just put it all on his plate from the get-go, hey, we're going to get in 5 wides, put you in the shotgun. Yeah, it's your first play in the NFL. We had no preseason. It's all on you. Dissect it. Throw them. Surgical. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, he's amazing that way. And then he is some slippery SOB. That's the other thing, too. And Mike, I'm big into that. Yeah, he might be hurt a little here to start the year. Might lose this element. But, man, how many times did you and I last year look at him and go, how did he get out of that? Holy cow. And, I mean, this is amazing right here.
Well, a lot of times he didn't get out of it. That was the problem. He got banged around and thrown around, and he didn't care.
Definitely. They didn't protect. But, look at this play. Actually, Kristen, rewind it. Can we restart it? Is that possible? Because, this is unbelievable. Yeah, go ahead. Let's just show it live and rewind it. Awesome. I mean, look at this. He throws that ball a second before the guy turns around as he's moving in the pocket. I mean, he's just got great feel to go, wait, I'm going to throw the ball at this trajectory, at this speed, and a guy's not turned around, but I'm going to put it right in the spot and the right pace. And look, he turns around and the ball's 2 feet from him, and it's placed perfectly on his shoulder. Now, movement, we know he can do that. Throws the ball on the run, and he ain't afraid to throw the ball into some tight windows. That's the thing I love. And even though he doesn't have the strongest arm, he's got incredible confidence in his accuracy and his ability to hit the bullseye. And then it's always this stuff. I mean, the unbelievable ability to avoid and keep the eyes down the field. And like we've talked about a few times with other quarterbacks, right, Mike? He can do it. This is modern-day quarterback. Drop back, look downfield, reassess the pressure. Look downfield, reassess the pressure. Here he goes again. Look at this throw. This is insanity in the membranity. Are you kidding me? Not covered. I mean, covered, not open, running to his right. Notices the defender's back's turned so he could throw a ball over him and it be pretty safe, and he puts it on the money. I mean, that's to me where it's just I look at the kid sometime and go, he's the natural. He's dancing around the top 10 for sure if he doesn't get hurt with his knee from last year. But because of the knee and all that, yeah, I knocked him down, I think, significantly just because I don't know where he'll be at to start the year.
The one thing that impresses me when we watch those one after another, the level of physical exertion that he is showing to get himself into a position where he can make the throw. and you're moving and you're moving and you're straining. And then when it's time to throw the ball, he puts exactly the right amount of touch on it.
Right.
Because, usually, think about it. If you're straining to do something and you're going to throw it, you're going to whip it as hard as you can because everything at that point is 100% plus. To be moving like he was laterally and to take off some of that to drop it right into where it needed to be, that's beautiful.
Beautiful.
When you see it one after another.
Right. He just got a great feel of, like you're talking about, like exerting himself, tense. Oh, it's time to throw the football. Let me be relaxed and throw it right, and I'm not going to let the tension get to me.
Like that.
Like that. It's amazing. He does it. He does it as he moves in the pocket, too. He'll be just dancing around. You're like, man, he's making people miss. And somehow, now all of a sudden he becomes Gumby, and he can throw the ball down the middle of the field nice and relaxed. He's got leadership. We know that. I've heard from people in Cincinnati. They say it. He's the leader of the team by like the third week of the season last year. So he does everything. He's changed the aura of the organization. I give value to that. You've heard me say that. So he brings something. He's got presence on the field. He's got a presence off the field. He's changed our thought of that organization and really does everything at a high level. And as we talk about with a lot of these guys, when he is healthy, what makes him special is when nothing's there, he has the ability to do what we just saw. Hey, you didn't protect me. Hey, nobody's open. Don't worry. I'll still get us a 15-yard completion. That's special. So he's taking advantage of all that's there to be had and then some, except in that one little area we talked about at the start. He's got to get better at being a better 20-plus yard thrower of the football to take advantage of Jamar Chase and some of these guys. That's the only thing I look at his game that I just go, he gets better there, he's going to be, big-time superstar, top 5 quarterback for a long, long time.
And you said that he has changed the perception of the Bengals. The Bengals are going to need to change in multiple ways to ultimately keep him happy long term. And I don't want to look. Hey, Bengals fans get upset because before the draft last year, I had suggested that maybe Joe Burrow was thinking about making a power play. Oh, wait, you know what? He was, folks. You don't have to believe me. I don't care. But the truth is, he was thinking about making a power play. And as one person explained it to me, if he was from Athens, Georgia, not Athens, Ohio, he would have made a power play.
Yeah.
The fact that he grew up close to Cincinnati worked to the advantage of the Bengals to get him to not make a power play. It doesn't mean he won't make a power play. And I mentioned that draft earlier. Who is the next wave of quarterbacks to exert their influence? If the Bengals don't get Joe Burrow the help that he believes he needs, he's not going to take it passively like Derek Carr has. He's going to exert himself. And maybe that's what the Bengals need. Maybe they need someone from within.
Right.
To grab management by the collar and say, you need to do this. You can't just dog paddle your way through life in the NFL. Yeah, you're going to make money. You have to try to not make money in the NFL. But you're never going to get close to a championship if you don't embrace reality and truly compete with the other teams out there. And hopefully they accepted when they made Joe Burrow the first overall pick in the draft that he's going to be that way, because I think he is. Carson Palmer was not that way. He just dealt with it until he couldn't deal with it anymore. I think Burrow is going to be actively involved in trying to get this team to where it needs to be. And that's good news for Bengals fans if ownership will go along with it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, he doesn't seem like he's not going to sit quietly. He doesn't seem that. I don't think he's going to make a ruckus. But you're right. I don't think this is a guy that's scared to make.
He'll quietly make a ruckus.
Exactly.
He's not going to do it publicly. He'll do it behind the scenes.
That's the way to say it. Exactly right. Yeah, I think he'll let it be known. So I think that will be on the horizon for the Bengals to know that pressure's there. And listen, I think he's good enough, and what we saw at LSU in that year and last year, to where I think everybody just knows how talented he is and everything like that, to where that perception along with it, I think is going to put pressure on the Bengals to go wait, you got a special guy here. You just got to give him pieces, and this could work. And everybody knows that. So that's where the Bengals, I think, even though they might not be in their nature to do some of that, they might have to push the chips a little bit more into the middle of the table than usual because, everybody's watching what you're doing with a quarterback that we all know and feel is pretty damn good and can be real good in this league for a long time.
You look at what they did this offseason to improve the offensive line. They went with his former teammate, Jamar Chase, with the 5th overall pick instead of Penei Sewell, who was right there if they wanted him, left tackle. I would not be surprised to know that Burrow not completely thrilled with the overall effort. I mean, they signed Riley Reif. No disrespect intended, but that isn't a huge upgrade to your offensive line. And I know they used some later draft picks, second rounder on an offensive line, but I mean, they could have had Sewell. When he gave a pre-draft assessment of Jamar Chase, and he didn't stand on the table like Kyler Murray did last year trying to get CeeDee Lamb. I think that Burrow understands he needs to have protection so he doesn't take those hits, because even though we showed clips of him avoiding the hit, he took the hit. He was fearless, and he's still going to be fearless even post-ACL, I believe. There's only one way this guy knows how to play, and it's going to potentially get him injured again if he doesn't have better blocking, and I think that is an imperative for the Bengals. It was this year, and I'm not sure they did enough. Do you think they did enough? I mean, there's only so much you can do in one offseason.
Yeah.
But I wonder whether they did enough to make it significantly better for him in 2021.
Well, I do think so to a degree. Yes. I mean, that was a tough decision there at pick number 5. Yeah, Penei Sewell, some people thought he was really, really special. Others thought maybe he was the 2nd or 3rd best tackle in the draft. So it depends. Maybe the Bengals thought he was kind of more that. The guy they drafted in the 2nd round has superstar talent. I do think they've done enough. Yeah, I do. I mean, and when I look at it, Riley Reif, I know you're not going to write letters home to mom and be like, oh, my gosh, mom, we changed our team around. Riley Reif's here. But still a serviceable starting offensive lineman. Got guys like Quentin Spain and got some other guys that have been hurt or unproven a little bit that are coming up the ranks that are just going to have to start showing up and playing ball and being better that way. But like you look at that graphic, right? And if we can bring up that pressure statistic thing again too. You see here, like, under pressure is not that bad with percentage under pressure, but where I would say it's misleading is the fact that they had to play a style of football that was in the shotgun spread offense, and he had to get the ball out of his hands quickly because they knew they couldn't block up some of the down-the-field throws and some of the things that needed to be done to protect the quarterback for a long time. So that's where that could be a little bit misleading, and it certainly has to get better. But they obviously know that's a huge point. And you got Joe Mixon. Like, we need to be better up front, and like that Steelers mentality, he's too good to not be able to run the football that way. So I guess sorry to blabber here, but I think they've done enough.
But you're making a good point. Yeah. Despite the statistics as to the amount of time he was under pressure, the guy showed a level of fearlessness that bordered on recklessness that made us all nervous. And that the irony of the hit that ultimately ended his season, he was just throwing the ball.
Yeah,
like
quick
he was
throw,
running around
really.
trying to do anything crazy. He was trying to get rid of the football, and they caved in his left knee as he was delivering the ball. But he played with a rough and tumble style. He'd run the ball. He would embrace contact. All the things we say don't do, he would do. And it's thrilling to watch until the guy can't get up. That's the concern, and that's part of what he needs to. Now, again, I think as you develop and mature, you start to get away from that. But for now, he's got that competitive mindset that won't let him do it, and he's going to have to figure out how to temper it. And maybe that's what the ACL injury will allow him to begin to do.
Very good point.
Kirk Cousins coming in, number 16.
Oh, baby, that's right. Oh, it's Florio's favorite quarterback. Woo!
And, Kellen Mond is number 16?
No, not yet. Sorry.
Cousins comes in at number 16. Okay, well, look, I can't remember where you had him last year. Where'd you have him last year?
Maybe a little higher than that. I think it was a few spots higher. So, yeah, there's been some guys that have jumped him. Definitely guys that played a little bit better. Hey, Kirk Cousins, there's a lot to like. Hey, he gets disrespected a lot. We know that. But, man, when you do go back and watch him, you realize, gosh, he makes a lot of really great throws, aggressive down-the-field throws that you go, that's pretty high degree of difficulty, too. They're not dink and dunk and doing those things. He's an awesome processor of information. A lot like we talked about with Joe Burrow, but except this is a guy that's been around the NFL for a long time. I mean, I think enough to where when you see Kirk Cousins and he comes up, he can read a defense and cock that arm back and throw the football as quick as anybody in the game. And he is aggressive. as far as his mindset and looking for plays and everything like that. But I think the reason he's 16 and no higher than that goes back to a theme that I hate to say it. We've talked about it a few times already, and you've said it a ton. The lack of mobility, the inability to make anything happen off schedule is just less than for this day and age in the NFL at the quarterback position. It is. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a jerk. There's a lot of good things he does that way. But the reason I can't put him higher than that is because of some of these clips you're seeing right here. I mean, there's just can be nothing can be done in some of these situations. And hey, listen, some of them are no-win situations, but as we've talked about a lot, in this day and age, if you can't throw in the pocket off different arm angles, which he's not the best at from that, and because he kind of has a longer delivery, he's not the greatest with people around him in tight quarters and things. And then to your point, when he gets out of the pocket and does that, it's very few and far between. He can't. Exactly right. He can't. Right.
It's two steps in mud and someone pulls him down from behind. It's gotten to the point where he doesn't even try that much anymore. He just accepts the plays over and hits the deck or throws the ball away. But I remember when we did this list last year, we agreed that there are two types of quarterbacks, and for the most part, if you want to be in the upper echelon or upper echelons, as the case may be, you got to be able to make chicken salad on the fly.
Yeah.
When the play that's called falls apart, Patrick Mahomes, prime example, Russell Wilson as well, Aaron Rodgers,
Josh Allen,
guys that can move, and guys that can improvise, and guys that can save the coach's ass when the play that was called bumps up against a defense that shuts it down. Cousins can't do that. Everything's got to be perfect for Cousins to perform at a high level. The minute it falls apart, it's done. And that's a pretty big flaw. And that's why they went after Kellen Mond. That's why they wanted Justin Fields. They want a guy just like Kyle Shanahan wants a guy who can run the play that's called, and when it does go to hell, come up with something else.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right, because even guys like Kyle Shanahan who go, man, my offense is awesome, it's the best in football. I need a guy like that in 2021 NFL. I can't have a guy that just sits there like the Statue of Liberty in the pocket all the time. It is. The bar of mobility has changed, the standards of it in the NFL over the last 5 to 6 years. There just is. With all the diversity in the defenses, how athletic the defense ends and D tackles are, the linebackers, everything like that, you got to be able to do some things off schedule. Now, listen, you put him on a good team with a great offense and everything, he'll take advantage of everything that's there to be had. He'll make all the right reads. Ooh, that guy's open 25 yards downfield. That guy's open deep downfield. That's great. But he, at the same time, also, if you were on that great team and had a bunch of injuries and, the coach, lost his way calling plays, to everything you've said, he's not the kind of guy that's going to cover your ass when it comes to that type of stuff. So in some ways, I look at him always go, I think he's underappreciated. I mean, in a lot of ways. But at the same time, because of what's expected of this modern day quarterback a little bit, he is kind of the guy that people are always going to go, yeah, he's good, but I think we can do a little bit better maybe and just find somebody with a little bit of a stronger arm and better mobility. And that's what Cousins has to fight through. And he has to fight through it extra when you're always asking for guaranteed contracts and playing hardball money. Then you get that perception of like, wait, we're paying you like you're the biggest superstar ever. You need to play like that. And that's why I think it also, goes into the negativity with him sometimes.
Here's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Do you want to make the playoffs or do you want to make it to the Super Bowl? If you want to make the playoffs, Cousins is your guy. If you want to make the Super Bowl, and this is based on 3 years of him with the Vikings, 5 years before that. Was it 5 or was it 6? It was 6 years.
6, I think. Yeah, you're right.
With Washington before that. Now, he didn't become the starter until 2014, 15-ish. But I look, nice guy, great thrower of the football. Play goes well, everything's fine, but you're going to get bounced before you get to the Super Bowl.
Unless you have that team like you're talking about. Like here, listen to this comment and just think if you agree with me here. If Kirk Cousins was on the 49ers 2 years ago, they would have won the Super Bowl and beat the Chiefs.
They would have won the Super Bowl because he would have made that throw to Emmanuel.
That's
Sanders.
what I mean. Like,
You're
it was
right.
there. He'll do that. Right, yeah. But he's not going to be – if we put him on the Chiefs in that situation, he was down by 10. No, the game was over, and you're going to lose by 20 points.
Right.
So I guess that's what we're saying there. And it is. It's a fine line, and that's kind of the issue with Kirk Cousins. There's some love me, and there's some love me not.
But it all has to go just right.
Yes.
And hey, Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Irv Smith.
Yeah.
I don't know what their offensive line is going to be. Defense, better. We talked yesterday about how this notion of actually having home field advantage via crowd noise that will help the defense. That gives the defense another kick in the pants. This is the high-end analytics. Even number years, they don't go to the playoffs. Odd number year, they do. But, maybe they can make some noise this year. We've talked in the past about how there's not a murderer's row on the NFC side of the ledger. AFC, yes. NFC, other than the Buccaneers,
yeah,
there isn't like a team that stands out as, oh, my God. Now, if the 49ers stay healthy, yes. If the Packers can figure this out with Aaron Rodgers, yes. But there's an opening there.
There is.
But, we saw the Vikings go down to Tampa last year, and they tried to hang with them early, but it was clear that they were operating on a different plane than the Buccaneers, and that was the first of what would become 8 straight wins for Tampa Bay, taking care of Minnesota, coming out of the bye, and off they went.
Yeah.
So there's a gap there. And they wanted Justin Fields. They got Kellen Mond. They're trying to close that gap with the kind of quarterback that you correctly assess teams need nowadays, a guy who can move when the walls begin to close in.
Yeah, definitely. And, I think your point with the Vikings is an interesting one, because you're right. I mean, listen, all about the defense in a lot of ways to what we're talking about there. And if they can continue to run the ball like they do with Dalvin Cook and protect a little bit better in the drop-back pass game, which has really been their biggest issue in the drop-back pass game protection in the last few years, there's a chance. I mean, the offense should be one of the better offenses in football with like everything that you just explained. Those running backs, the two-headed monster there, those 2 receivers, tight end, pretty good run blocking offensive line. Hopefully it's better with the pass blocking. But, man, Danielle Hunter, Kendricks Barr, they're back healthy. Your young secondary out there, they play better. I don't think it's crazy to think that, they could be a pain in the butt in the NFC and certainly, let themselves be known a little bit.
And remember, we get so caught up in what happened with the pandemic and the 17 games. There's that extra playoff berth that's permanent, which makes it easier to get to the postseason than it's ever been. 7 per conference.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.